Hi everybody, it's Peter Stockdale, the host of the Spin Market Report. Are you looking for a new place to advertise your business? With over 85,000 YouTube impressions and 20,000 total streams across all platforms in the last 12 months, the Spin Market Podcast Network could be the prime space you've been looking for to advertise your business. Get a hold of Spin Market today and see what advertising on a podcast can do for you. Visit www.spinmarketwith2ks.com or email digitalagent@spinmarket.com for more information.
It's the Spin Market Report. Here's your host, Peter Stockdale.
All right. Thanks for the intro, Mackenzie.
Thanks. I love watching you both just bobbing your heads to the music right
It's a jam. It's totally a jam.
That was funky.
Yeah, it was some good stuff. Yes. I played that. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't. That is definitely not something I played.
We tried to get him to.
Well, I can't do it all. I can do a lot of stuff, but I can't do it all.
Disappointing.
Well, we got Mackenzie behind the ones and twos. We got Mac, the co-host over there. My name's Peter Stockdale. This is the Spin Market Report, and we're sitting down with Scott Kirkhart today. Scott Kirkhart Music. If you don't know what that is, you better go look it up. And if you want to look it up, just scroll in the description, click on a link. We're going to have links down below. Scott, how are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Yourself?
Good.
Good.
He was so excited to be here.
Yes.
I am excited to be here. I'm completely excited to be here.
Yes. So, I believe, let's just start this off fresh. The reason I wanted to bring you in here is I'm pretty sure you went to school possibly with marketing in mind. Is that correct?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
I think that lends itself to why you're probably one of the better marketers in the music industry. I wouldn't necessarily say people aren't good at marketing and music, but it's something I think a lot of people pass by.
I'm not sure that I probably learned all what I do in college by any means, other than I'm wearing a Busch Latte shirt right now. But no, I learned a lot, and then I was also working at a radio station at that point in time, and that's you learn a lot about marketing when especially when they want you to sell at 18, 19 years old, and they teach you how to do it.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean that's crazy. Radio is definitely one of those things for sure in that avenue where it's like, it's all sales driven. I mean, they have airspace, and they're just selling airspace to people to keep the lights on.
Yep.
And so yeah, let's start off fresh off the bat. Where'd you go to school at? College?
It's in Northwest Webster, Lansing, Iowa.
Nice.
I went to college at Iowa Central Community College.
All
Just
right.
like the rest of us here. Or somebody.
Yep.
And I was going for a marketing and mass communication. I wanted mass communication. I wanted to be an ABC Sports camera guy. That was
Oh, cool.
That was one of my biggest goals in life that I wanted to do. Was
And you got that, right?
No, I didn't do any of that. I wish I would have. I was going to go to Waldorf originally for mass communications, and Waldorf was, because it was so private, it was so expensive.
Yes.
And my parents couldn't help out. Dad was at that financial range where, he made enough, but he didn't make enough, right?
Yep, know that one.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I was at. And so I went to Iowa Central, and I was working at the radio station K97 at that point in time.
Oh, cool.
I started there. I started at KTLB, Twin Lakes, Iowa.
KTLB.
Yeah, as a 16-year-old, right? And I used to have to sign off the old radio station back in the day. At 10 o'clock, I read the news, and then I'd play the Star Spangled Banner, and then for the rest of the night. That's all you'd hear.
Yep. Yeah. Do you guys remember that?
No.
I do.
Maybe that's just my age. Maybe.
Well, you want to go even crazier? TV used to be like that.
TV used to do that too.
Yeah. They used to just not have TV from like 11 till 6.
And you'd have these weird colored bars all over the TV.
Shows you how the age difference in this room right now.
So what are you saying?
You're 29, right?
No. Yep.
So you learned some marketing stuff while you were working. Did you learn any in school or?
Yeah, I did. I learned a lot. I wish I would have just kept on going.
Yeah.
I was going to transfer to Iowa, and that's what I wanted to do. And I I didn't do any of that really. I just kind of I started working for the radio station, and I was working for the radio station, and I was going to school, and I was learning a lot about marketing, and they had a sales job open part-time, and I was still being a radio DJ, and I said, I'm learning everything that I'm doing right now at the radio station, so I'm just going to go work for the radio station.
Yeah.
And so I did. And then they brought me up Jeff Stahl was the sales manager name back then. And they sent me up to Owatonna, Minnesota, where the mother station was at. And I took it was like an 8-week marketing course. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. And I learned a lot. I probably learned more in that 8 weeks than I did probably in 2 years at Iowa Central.
Jeez.
I mean, they taught you how to get in front of people and how to talk to people and how to interview people and and just see where they're at, And then they talked about, branding and logos and all that. That's where they were like, oh, okay, I can do this. This is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I just wasn't the graphic designer, so I couldn't design my own.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a special skill set because, like, I can do graphic design work. It doesn't look anything close to what yours looks like. I mean, like, I get stuff on the internet and it's a picture and stuff, but it doesn't look anything like you do. Like, I can make a logo, doesn't look anything like any of yours do.
Okay,
that's fair.
Back when we didn't have much to do with computers, right? I mean, computers were just starting to kick in, so we had to draw everything.
Oh man!
And then when we drew it, and then you send it off, and they get it printed off like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, see, I don't think I could have done it actually freehanding it
to draw it.
Yeah,
I
don't think I'd be in this field.
And make you straight lines, and I mean that was pretty grid paper, and that's what we did. That's how we did it.
Yeah, I contacted a graphic designer to do some work for me back in the day for a project I had for a few years, and he did all this stuff on pen and paper, pencil, grid lines and stuff, and then transferred it in to a software on a computer that had Windows 98 because that was like the most compatible with what he was doing.
With dial-up internet.
It was insanity the way he went out and designed all this stuff.
I could still hear that noise.
Oh, right? I know.
Well, then he'd like save the image and send it over to a new computer and vectorize it, and it's I mean, it was like, you're going through all these steps just to make a logo? And he's like, well, this way it's custom. It's like
Vector. When that came out, that was huge. Wow, what is all these?
So do you think some of your like marketing talents that you kind of picked up along the way followed you after you left the radio station?
Oh yeah, completely.
I mean,
as far as, I'm a musician now, and I've even working a crowd, I learned that radio. I learned how to sell. I learned how to interview people. I learned how to talk to people, and I did. I mean, Mike Perry was fantastic. He was the one that owned the radio station back then, and he taught me a lot. And I was just this young kid, and they kind of drug me along, And it was the coolest experience I probably ever had in my life, really.
I mean,
I was young.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely will say, like, having seen you live, I've actually played a couple shows with you here and there too over the last 3-4 years or whatever. But like, you definitely do have some of the best like command over a crowd compared to most people I've seen. Not that other people are bad at it. It's just that I feel like it's definitely something right in your wheelhouse. You know?
Yeah. You kind of, when people kind of distance themselves and they're off over there, you know how to engage that. Mm-hmm. And I try to do that the best that I can. Sometimes, but you got to be in that mood to do it as well.
Yeah, it's true.
So you have to be in your own frame of mind at that point in time too. So
that's true. That's very true. So, local musician, you're from North Central Iowa. You've been actively playing music. What, 10, 15? What are you talking?
I was a drummer in high school, and then I went to college and I played drums at Iowa Central, and then I just quit playing drums and I started playing guitar. I picked up guitar. So probably 15 years, probably.
Nice.
Maybe longer.
So like as a musician then, has marketing helped you in any capacity or is this something where you're just like, I played music and everyone loved it and they just hire me all over the place and I don't have to do anything?
No.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Every single day is a marketing scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the brand, right? And I have to brand myself. And if I don't brand myself and I don't promote myself, and that includes logos, that includes social media, that includes
photography, the whole thing.
Yes. And it takes a team to do that, really. I mean, it's hard to do it all by yourself. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing it by myself for a long time. Mm-hmm. But man, it's tiring.
It's very tiring.
It is. That's a lot to do. And the bigger you get, the more reach and the more fans you have, and the more you need to come up with new marketing schemes to accommodate that and continue to grow, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Because you don't want to grow stagnant. I mean, as a musician, that's Kierkegaard. We don't want to see him again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you constantly got to keep doing stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it's the same thing every time I get on his Facebook. I'm not worried about checking it regularly or something.
Right.
But if you're interacting with people or making those posts or like, I've got this event or something.
Social media is huge.
Yeah.
And that's really became, I don't know, big the last 5 years, 6, 7 years probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten huge.
Yeah, it's basically like replaced websites to an extent. I mean, on our end, we don't think that should be the way people go. Like, you probably should still have a website because stuff can kind of get lost in social media. After a few days. You're like just doom scrolling on one person's profile trying to find stuff, and that's where having a website would probably be beneficial. But I also think, like, you have to market yourself with the music too. You can't just like, I put out a song and then just never talk about it,
And that's a whole new album release and a single release. That's a whole different, you got to come up with a whole marketing plan just for that alone.
100%.
Well, then you watch like people that do like reels and stuff, and they only show like a small amount of the song or whatever, but they're posting that like 20 times before
people want to hear the whole song.
Yes.
Then, right? Yes.
Yep.
Drives me nuts because on the side of it, because I'm like, just release a song, but I get it.
When that song comes out, then you're going to listen to it right away, right? It works.
I know.
It does work.
It drives me nuts how well it works.
Yes.
It gets stuck in your head. I mean, that's 100%. So like, I feel like, again, this is something that's often overlooked by musicians around our area. Like, we know musicians that don't even have Facebook pages, or that just got one, or they within the last 2 years.
Do anything with it.
Exactly.
I mean, and some really, really good musicians. Yeah. Like some of the most talented musicians in the state of Iowa, and they don't know how to utilize Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or, you know what I mean? And they don't.
Do you think that's a case of like they just don't need to use it because they've got enough bookings where they can live comfortably enough? Or do you think they just don't understand the impact that it could have on them?
I just don't think they understand the impact that it could have at times.
Yeah.
I take, for example, Jordan Beam, dear friend of mine, and he's a young, works the crowd. He's got a fantastic voice, but his social media presence is absolutely huge. He posts 2-3 times a day. It's that you get in that algorithm of things and you kind of, and he does a very good job of it. And a kid that's 26 years old, that's pretty impressive. Really.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, I was finally getting things squared away and started at 26, 27,
heck, I'm 48 and I still haven't got it started yet.
I thought you were 29.
Oh yeah. I mean, 29.
Yeah, 29.
Yes, that's right. Sorry.
So, I mean, I do have some experience with the music scene around the state of Iowa, within the last 5 years or so. But from all the people I've talked to and all the people that I've interacted with in one capacity or another, it seems that you probably have one of the best marketing drives for yourself. And so, like, what kind of things have you utilized to market yourself? I know we've kind of like glossed over a few of them, but like I have stuff down here. Like, I know you've had logos created for you.
Yep.
And that's something where, like, again, sometimes I feel like, well, I can just do this. It'll be better than spending $100, or $200, to have somebody just.
I was pretty fortunate.
Junk out a logo real quick,
Well, and logos aren't cheap by any means.
No.
I'm pretty fortunate because the guy that I always went through is the name Tom Bolin is his name.
Oh, yeah.
And he was an art instructor for East Sac Elementary School.
Oh, cool.
And he broke away from that and started his own t-shirt shop, and well, he's a graphic designer. So, and he's a really, really good graphic designer.
Yeah.
So if you buy t-shirts from him, he's going to make your logo for you. And we were really good friends. And that's where I kind of got all of my logos from.
That's
Just
awesome.
want to say thank you for actually having a graphic designer do that.
Yes. I mean, again, you could just do it yourself like I would have done, and it wouldn't have had an impact.
No.
Or again, if you just find somebody that'll make one for you and you're like, here's $100, they're going to take 20 minutes on it and call it good.
Tom is so good at it too. I mean, as far as graphic design, simplicity was huge. I said, well, this is what I have in my mind. Can you do it this way? He says, I think I got something better. So then the next thing you know, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And he's really good at doing it. He made the Broken Strings logo. He made my logo. He made my
SK logo.
He made the SK logo. He made the Rooster logo.
Oh,
I mean, he's very talented when it comes to stuff like that. And I get my merch through them, and here you go, and I'm done. You know what I mean? And then I own that. I have that right to that logo. So
Yeah, that's like falls right into the next thing I was going to ask you. Like, so you go to graphic designers, they make stuff for you, but it's not like you just like, oh, I have a logo, it's on Facebook, we're done. You actually use the logos to make T-shirts or hats or whatever kind of merchandise you want to make. I mean, I even have on here you made koozies once because I found the koozie that I got from you just recently. I'm like, oh, I don't know where this thing's been.
That was probably a long time ago.
It's been a while, yeah. So we'll get to that in a second. But I think utilizing these logos in that capacity is definitely another great way to market yourself. I mean, you've got the branding down with like a logo. Yep. You might as well use the logo to do some marketing efforts. And what better marketing than having somebody pay you to walk around with your logo on them? Right. You know, I mean, I feel like shirts are like free advertising. They are. You get paid hats to have somebody else advertise for you. I mean, how many times have I worn your hat around in public and taken pictures with it and you're just like, nice hat, brother?
Yeah, right. Literally every single time I see a picture of you and you're wearing a Kirkart hat or something like that, you know, every single time.
Yeah. Do you think that's often overlooked too? Because we know a lot of people who just, and I mean for years, were just like, I'm not doing merch. I'm never dealing with it. I don't want to drag it places. I don't have to worry about buying it or having sizes in stock or reordering it. They're just like, it's not worth it. What do you think about that? Because I've always been under the other impression of it's very worth it. It is a hassle.
It's completely worth it, and it helps your brand grow. But you have to, like, T-shirts are easy. Like, you're wearing a T-shirt, right? Say you're wearing a T-shirt of mine, or you're wearing a T-shirt of mine, and somebody out goes, "Hey, where'd you get that at?" "Oh, well, I seen Scott play over here, you know," or something like that. That's a pretty cool logo. And they see like the SK logos. They call that my retro logo now, is what they call it, because it's one of my first logo I had. You know, and it's a guitar hole with 6 strings and it says SK in it. That's all it is. It's simple. And people like that logo yet. In fact, they wanted me to bring new hats back just for that. Hey, can you bring back the old logo with the new hat on it?
I like it.
Sure.
I've got 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get, you know, then you change different colors and then people, oh, I got to have one of those hats.
That's exactly what I did.
Nate Gibson he's like, hey, have you tried black on black? Yeah, I did. So then I got a black on black one with the white logo on it. You know, and then next thing you know, you got 4 of my hats running around here. And it's like, I don't even have 4 of my own hats anymore.
Soon as they're going to have a hat for every day.
Yeah, exactly. So the other one was, I'd mentioned koozies. And so not the establishment that used to be here.
Sure.
Is it still open?
It is still,
open.
Well, it's not koozies. It's Goodies.
Okay. Oh, it went back to Old Goodies?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Old Goodies before?
Actually, it used to be Old Goodies, and it was an amazing bar back in the day. And then it went to King's, and then something else, and then Koozies, and then Justin Goodnow and one of his silent partners says, hey, we're going to buy this place back. And they bought it back, and they got, from what I understand, possession of the building next door. They're going to knock it down, and they're going to have an outdoor patio and everything too. Yeah, it's going to be.
That'll be cool.
And they completely went in and redid everything in that bar, like the bars on the other side of the building, or the building now. It's incredible in there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, like, I remember you played a show when you had launched, you had a band called Kirkart.
Yep.
And when you launched that, you had, and I mean, one of the best marketing aspects for an opening show ever. We're doing it here. We're going to raise funds for this. You can buy shirts for this and it'll get donated to that. If you pay to get in the door, we'll give you a free koozie, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And not only that, but you split the cost of the koozies with the venue owner. And we're just like, I'll put my logo on one side. You can put your logo on the other, and we can just split the cost. And, you know, somebody's paying to get in the door anyway. So we're technically going to recoup it anyways. And now they're going to be walking around with your koozie and your name on it.
Yep.
I mean, that's another thing that's just absolutely brilliant to do. Like, you have the logo, they've got a logo, just
join them together.
Put it on there.
I've been doing a lot more of that with different venues. Is like, hey, Sunday Fun Day in Carroll at the brewery, Carroll Brewing Company, right? And it's a beautiful old building. And I started a Sunday Fun Day there. And next thing you know, we got T-shirts with my logo, and then on the back, Tom Boland made another logo that's Sunday Fun Day live at Carroll Brewing, and next thing you know, people are starting to buy those and all those T-shirts, and they're going like hotcakes. And then came another koozie, and then the next people wanted koozies, and then that's when another hat came out, right?
Yeah.
And then you kind of got to release it. And I watch a lot of the bigger country guys. Morgan Wallen, Jordan Davis is really, really good at it. Luke Combs is really good at it. You know, those guys, they're selling T-shirts for $50 a piece. They're making them for $7.30. And I mean, look at the profit major. What they're getting.
It blows my mind how expensive like merch and stuff at those big name shows
crazy.
Are now.
Yeah.
I'm like, cheapers.
And they're making enough money as it is just coming in there, and that the merch is all pure profit for them.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's it. I mean, that's pure profit for them. And they need more T-shirts, then they just do more. That's a whole nother separate business that they run separate from that.
100%. Yeah.
Nothing fancy. Here you go. Nothing fancy hat right there, right? That's Hardy's brand.
There you go. Yeah.
It ain't nothing fancy.
Yeah.
It's a hat with the rubber logo on it is all it is.
And he got you to buy it.
Yep.
Yeah.
$35. There you go.
Well, I get it. Like, I have 2 of your hats. I've got multiple shirts of yours. I mean, like, and I do a lot of supporting of the music scene anyways, but like, you go to those big concerts like Iron Maiden or whoever you go see, it's just like a shirt's $50. It's like, well, guess what? I've got 10 of those over the last 15 years.
You know, you speak of logos and bands for years.
That's all it was.
Is all marketing. Look at Kiss, one of the biggest marketing bands and group you've ever seen in your life. They had dolls, they had toothpaste, they had
alarm clocks, ice cream sandwiches,
anything you'd want that says the same logo on it. That was a drawn logo originally.
Yep.
Right? And then they vectored it, right? And I mean, that's what they did eventually. But
Yeah.
And the Eagles, there's another one, the Eagles logo, but the Eagles, the big E on there, it says the Eagles right there. I mean, that's every band is that way. Fog Hat.
Aerosmith.
Look at that logo, and that logo's been around for decades.
Even super basic ones like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
It's not even like a ridiculously crazy design.
So did they have a marketing scheme? Did they have a marketing director at that point in time? You know, when they first started, or were they just sitting there drawing on their little pad and said, "This is our new logo. Check it out."
I don't know. Yeah, somebody had to come up with this somewhere,
right?
You know, and it's music. It's one of those things you kind of buy it with your eyes, even though you consume it with your ears.
Truth,
you know. So like, we're old enough. We went to the record store, and it's like you're flipping through it. This looks cool. I'm buying it.
Well, just like we've talked before, you and I, it's like you hear what you see.
100%. Even on stage.
And when you're on stage, you know, you see these bands put on this huge smoke and flames and lights and this huge production. You're going to go back and see that band because that was pretty darn cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's almost like you're marketing the music in a live
That's
place.
exactly what you're doing.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. And you could be a half decent band and have a huge production and still get sold out crowd every time.
Every time.
Well, we went to a concert and we didn't even know the opening act, and now they're like my number one that I've been listening to on repeat. Like, all because of how well they did during the concert.
Well, I went to this weekend. I went to see Band of Heathens and Corey Waller and the Wicked Things in Lakeview. Band of Heathens have been one of my favorite bands for 10 years. People are like, who is this? Who are these guys? You know, who are these guys? I said, you're going to find out. And they knew most of their songs, you know, when they started playing them.
Yeah. I mean, that was crazy. I played a show last weekend and somebody came to the show and they were just like, we came from the Band of Heathens show. And it's like,
really?
You know, like it just got over and they hightailed it over to where we were at to watch that. Yeah, those guys are super good. It's kind of crazy to be like, oh, you watched them and then had enough in you to come over and watch us still. Like,
and they got a logo, the Simpler Things album, right? They have a logo, and it's a pretty cool, simple logo, but it's a logo.
Yeah, I did have on here, how do you contract out getting logos and graphic design work? But we just talked about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
You have, a graphic designer that you found, and again, you emphasize the importance of actually hiring a graphic designer.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, I know that you mentioned that, buying a logo is not usually cheap. I mean, it's not.
You're going to get what you pay
But also,
for.
like, if you really think about it, it's not like a poster where it's like a one and done event. You're going to be using this on a multiple basis and things. So, and it's kind of, I mean, it does get upcharged a little bit because it's not just a one and done thing.
Not only that, but it's also repetition too. I mean, you look at Kiss and you look at these other big bands, and they've had the same logo for.
Oh yeah, Kiss is the same, always has
since
been.
1960s. You know what I mean? I mean, it's literally, it's the same logo. And who originally made that logo? I don't know. I'm sure Paul Stanley probably did.
Sure, maybe.
I mean, he was
know.
one of the big guys that kind of into that marketing whole deal.
Even though Gene Simmons would probably be like,
Gene Simmons
he'd probably say he did it. I don't know.
I bet you Gene Simmons did it.
Yeah, he might have. I don't know.
But yeah, graphic design is important. And yes, you may charge for it, but 40 years down the road, that person may still be using that same exact logo. Right?
I think of, it's not music wise, but Nike, the person that designed the Nike,
Like the
swoosh. Yeah.
Which, how cool is it that we all know that it's called the swoosh?
You're right. Like
Would the kids know that? Younger ones?
I don't know.
I believe it was a female that designed it too, and it was like a big deal because she was female. But it's still being used from the day that she created it till now. And like, I mean, I can't even remember. There was a very small number that she got paid to do this logo.
It's crazy.
And now, like, if she would have done it now, the difference in the like, I mean, we're talking a couple $1 million for this logo.
That's crazy. That makes me
this
wonder.
is insane.
Apple.
It makes me wonder if graphic.
Apple, yeah.
Makes me wonder if graphic design work's eventually going to go, or could go, in the sense of like getting paid on contract. So it's like, I will take 0.01% of your sales in perpetuity when you use this logo.
I'm sure they probably do in bigger corporations. I would think so. I mean, they have their own graphic designers, do they not?
Yeah, but even then, if you're paying somebody to make a graphic design for you, it's like, well, I already paid you the money because you work here. So like, I don't know exactly how that would work, but I could see that kind of go in that route. Because even if you're only making pennies every single time someone sells a lot of shirts, stretch that out over 40 years, you could have a decent amount of money. Or
Same kind of goes as a musician with Jingles, right? I mean, so when we were doing that marketing class, I'll never forget this as long as I live. Barry Manilow, of all people, you guys know who Barry Manilow is, right? He says, I got paid $300 making jingles when I was in the early 70s. And he started playing on the piano, one of this thing, and it says bump, 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 bump. And all of a sudden, I'm stuck on Band-Aids because Band-Aids stuck on me.
He wrote that?
He wrote that.
What?
And he got paid $300 is all he got paid for that. And they're still using that jingle today.
Oh, man.
40, 50 years later. And another one was this long, drawn out, beautiful, beautiful song. And then right at the very end, it's, and like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And it's still being
And
used.
that's Barry Manilow.
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy because that's like an audio logo.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an audio logo. You're exactly right. That's what it is.
That's
It's a
insanity.
stamp. It's an audio stamp of this company.
It's definitely a way to brand it. There's so many different ways that you brand yourself. McDonald's in there. I'm loving it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
How about this? I want a Big Mac McDLT, a quarter pounder with some cheese fillet, a fish, a hamburger, a cheeseburger, a Happy Meal, nuggets, Stacy Golden, French fry regular, and large sizes. I could keep going, but I'm not going to.
12
I still
patties.
remember that. They used to have these little records. Talk about a marketing scheme. They used to have these little flimsy plastic records that they would give with a it was a 45, and with the Happy Meals, you could get these little records in the square, right? So then you spin it, and it had that song on it.
And you're just playing
That's
the McDonald's
hilarious.
Does
song.
that show my age? I'm just going to be quiet. now for
I
the
bet
rest
your
of the
parents
podcast.
were not happy with that.
I played that a million times on my little, was it Reading Rainbow?
Oh my
Probably.
gosh.
Something like that,
That sounds like when buying your kids a toy just to annoy, or as an aunt buying, your niece and nephew a toy that will annoy the mom and dad.
Yeah.
Just out of spite.
And I still kind of research marketing. I really still do. Like Mountain Dew was originally meant for whiskey. It's a mixer for whiskey.
Yep.
That's how it got started. And there was two guys from Tennessee, and they couldn't find their setup, is what it was called, what they used to mix their whiskey with. So they made their own, and they called it Mountain Dew. And nobody really took on to it until they had they designed two hillbillies, right? Cartoons.
I know exactly.
And they said, Yahoo, Mountain Dew.
Mountain
And
Dew.
all of a sudden, Mountain Dew became
He's got the
United States.
He's got the jug with the cork flying through the bill of his hat. I know exactly what this
because Mountain
is.
Dew was a slang for moonshine, and that's what they used it for.
Yep, that's
a
wild.
whole marketing scheme right there. Just that,
It's genius.
Who would have thought?
right? I mean, think about it.
See, now I'm learning stuff here.
Yeah.
So, like, were you inspired by anybody to like do all of this marketing stuff, or was this something you just kind of saw as like, this probably needs to be done if I'm going to be playing music? I can't just go out there and play a show at the local bar and be like, I got a couple $100, good enough, whatever. You know, like,
I think at that point in time, it was just kind of in my mind that I had to do this. And if I was going to do this, this is what it was. I don't know if there was really any inspiration to it. It just kind of fell back into my lap, and I just kind of, okay, well, I have to sell myself. And still to this day, I'm a brand. Me as a person I sell myself. I know that sounds weird, but I sell myself. I'm the brand. So I have to promote me. I have to, and that's how, you know, I'm the logo. I'm the logo. I'm the sound. Every time we get together, we're going to have a good time. I promise you. You know, every time I leave a gig, I want these people to go, man, he sounded so good, you know, or I'm coming back to him again.
yeah, because I had fun. So, like, how have you marketed yourself in other ways? Maybe not necessarily just with merchandise. Like, I know you've like partnered with other musicians when releasing music, so you can combine your whole group of audience or you know, your market with somebody else's market and be like, we put this together, and now instead of having a few thousand people here and a few thousand people there look at it, now you've got 10, 15,000 people on social media that are going to look at it.
Yep.
You know, so there'd be like one example. I mean, like maybe we talked about venues was another way that you did it. You partner with venues, or maybe event planners, or just an event in general to do something like that.
Yeah, venues were a huge one.
Yeah. Another one we have down here was stage presentation. I mean, we might as well mention him. You know, Tim Salter. You know.
Oh yeah.
You know, was one of the guys that I think, you know, when you played some music with him, you were kind of just like, yeah, we're doing this now. If I go out on my own, I'm doing this. I'm bringing some lights. Granted, it's not. You know, he's still stuck in the 80s. He's bringing piles of lights, piles of smoke machines.
Tim Salter is very knowledgeable at what he does.
It looks amazing. Like,
I mean,
a lot of us don't have the capacity to bring that much stuff with us, or the time to show up that
or
early.
the money.
I
mean, that takes a long time to get stuff back. You know, he's been doing it for what, 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, for 40 years.
Yeah, 40 years of collecting trinkets and stuff.
Well, and not only that, but he started the largest guitar magazine in the world. I
mean, at one point,
Premier Guitar Magazine was,
I think it was like number 3 in the world at one point in time.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's huge.
Or number 2. It was one of the biggest.
And he sold off his, you know, eventually. But I mean, and then did rig rundowns for him. So he started that. I mean, when I first started playing guitar, I remember going to the magazine store or the bookstore in the mall and getting a magazine, a Premier Guitar Magazine, and reading it from cover to cover.
I probably still have some.
Oh, I've got a lot of them, I'm sure. I don't know why I keep them around, but you know.
Yeah. So we're getting close to the end here, but I do definitely want to mention Broken Strings. So can you explain like what Broken Strings is? Founded in 2021.
Yep.
What's your guys' objective?
To raise money and give kids guitars.
All right. How many kids? What was the original objective? You were going to give?
Well, 367, which changed to 368.
Oh, yeah.
Because Waukee added another school district.
Okay, so you're going to try and go every school district.
We're trying to do one school district one kid per school district for the state of Iowa.
To get a free guitar.
Yep, to get a free guitar is what we want. I mean, and so basically what we're trying to do is, as an older musician, I always felt like I was brought up by, you know, when I first got into it, Chris Carr said to me after I stopped playing with the band and was just kind of playing, he says, if you don't book a solo show, I'm going to book one for you.
He would have too.
Right. And he pushed me to jump to that next level, maybe. I don't know if it's a level.
Outside of your comfort zone that you
Way
had?
outside of my comfort zone, you know. And I remember my first couple shows, I go nervous. I mean, and then, we just kind of keep going. And like the other day, I was on TV for the first time. I've never been on TV. I was on Hello Iowa for WHO Channel 13.
That's awesome.
And I felt like I was playing my first show again. As soon as that red light boom popped on, I'm like,
oh, we're live, buddy.
What do I do with my hands? But no, it's so, and that was for Broken Strings too. But our main goal is to give a guitar to every kid, or one kid per school district in the state of Iowa.
Where did you draw your inspiration for that?
Well, my buddy passed away, Tracy. This was kind of Tracy's idea. He wanted to just raise enough money every year to give guitars away around the Fort Dodge area. And I just said to him one time, I said, and we were coming home one night from a gig like in Cherokee, and it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and him and I were the only two that were up left because I played in a band with him, and he was telling me about it. I said, why don't we just do something with like the whole state? And he's like, oh, that's a lot, man. And of course, I'm like, no, it's a piece of cake, it's got to be easy. Well, it's not easy. No, it's okay. I'm telling you right now, and it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of people that want to do the same thing and not get gratification from it.
Other than possibly just standing there next to you when you hand the guitar to the person.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people, and I can't do it myself. I mean, I've tried over the last couple of years, right? And now I have a really, really good board of directors. I stepped down from being president after my accident that I got into, and Jason Hacker is president. I'm founder. I'm on the board. I got Jim Jensen, who owns Trophies Plus. I got Wade Wilkie, who owns Wilkie Clothing Company.
Cool.
I got a bunch of business savvy people running the business aspect of it,
which is what you need.
Yes, absolutely.
And it should be also noted, nonprofit organization.
Yeah, it's a 501c3. And I did all that. Like, I was driving in a FedEx truck, right? And I was talking to Tracy, and I said, hey, I'm really going to do this. Let's do this. And then we lost Tracy. He passed away from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And then I kind of vowed that I was going to continue this and make this better. And so I started it in January 21 is when I finally got my, it was a year later when I finally got my 501c3, sorry.
Yes.
Nonprofit.
I would have believed you either way.
Nonprofit. And
you have an accounting degree.
And it took that long time. And I was on my phone in a FedEx truck, and I looked up and I said, how do I start a nonprofit organization, right? And it sent me to the foundation group from Nashville, Tennessee. And I basically contracted, they're my accounting group pretty much.
Nice.
And they just pretty much took care of getting the nonprofit thing. I just give them money, and they said, and I had to do the, articles of, incorporation and all that stuff, and we had to do every corporation or 501c3 or anything like that. They have to do the what's that called when you want to? I can't even think what it's called now. You have to write in a paragraph what your main objective is.
Oh, your mission statement.
Thank you. That's what it is, mission statement.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how to do any of that, right? I mean, I'm just a dumb FedEx guy. I don't know how to do any of that. So they helped out a lot. And I learned a lot. I watched a lot of YouTube channel or YouTube videos about 501c3 nonprofit and how to do it. And I kind of started it that way, but yet again, it's still the same thing, right? It's marketing is a huge thing because we got a logo together, and then we started, this is what I want to do. This is how we can raise money. You got to promote fundraisers. Then you got to promote all your fundraisers on top of it. And it's just it's nonstop. And now I have musicians across the state of Iowa that share the same dream and goal as me. Like Lee Klett has jumped on board, and he helps volunteer. He's going to take care of that part of the state, and I'm going to give him guitars, and he's going to go on and get some guitars. I have Mike Moody in the Des Moines area and Jordan Beam Mike Moody, what a champ. Like I have a problem trying to find children because I'm trying to go through the band directors.
Oh, it's not always easy because sometimes the guitar players don't play in bands.
Right. And not only that, but band directors are so busy they don't email you back.
Oh, true.
And there's nothing, and I get it. They probably looking through their email, free guitar, whatever. And so how do I make myself present to these band directors without them? I'm trying, so I have to market that on top of that too. And so Hello Iowa, being on TV, talking about it, getting that logo out, letting people know exactly what we're trying to do is only going to build more, for us. And that's going to help us as far as get the band directors, get us some names too.
So I'm curious, do you have a number of how many guitars you've handed out so far?
Almost 40, I think, is what we're at, which is
that's not bad.
No, that's pretty cool. I mean, for doing it basically part-time. I mean, so September 28th is our next big
fundraiser? Or?
Well, we're fundraising, but so we're having at Brick and Ivy in Altoona, we're doing kind of like a writer's round type thing. And then so far we have 10 kids from all the different area Des Moines elementaries and that we're giving a guitar to that night. So, and if we could give away 20, we're going to give away 20. We've got plenty of money. We're ready to give guitars away, and that's kind of where we're at. The first year you're building money up, and then here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a great thing. I mean, again, it's something that's like, well, this is just a dream until everyone kind of realizes that you're doing it. And then when you're actually out there doing it, we got to explain what you're doing and tell everyone like, this is a real thing. It's not like it's not like I'm just saying this. We're actually doing this.
There are times of frustration.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And there are times of kind of being disheartened.
Yeah.
At times.
Yeah, I'm trying to do something nice and give stuff away.
I'm just trying to give a guitar away to a kid. I want this kid to, there's so many times when I was growing up, literally that this older gentleman of mine, he was like a grandpa to me growing up, and he used to sit down in his porch and he would play these old Boxcar Willie songs on his old, probably a Martin, I think is probably what it was back in the day. Mm-hmm. And he would sit there and sing, and I remember, and he always told me, if you learn how to play guitar, you will never be alone again in your life. And how many times in my life have I felt alone, and all I had to do is pick up my guitar and just play guitar.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, all that feelings kind of go away. Maybe it would help with mental health. Maybe it would help with, I know there's a lot of video gamers, let's do something.
Yeah. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me how, I don't want to call it out like this, but how few people have like hobbies they love. Some people have hobbies, but a lot of people, it's just like, what'd you do today? I watch TV after work. And it's like, well, then what? And it's like, that's it. It's like, well, it's not really a hobby, like maybe you need a hobby, maybe it doesn't have to be music. Like you said, it could be video games. Yeah. Maybe just rock some video games.
My son's 20 years old. He plays video games all the time. He's at Iowa State, straight A student. He plays, but he also plays trombone in the band. Mm-hmm. And I was like, are you ever going to pick up a guitar the other day? And he kind of looked at me and says, I don't know. I've been really thinking about it, Dad. And I was like, finally? Like, I wanted you to do this at 12 years old, man.
It's not cool because Dad's doing it.
Right. Well, and I had one of the best summers ever because I said to him, are you going to get a full-time job, or are you going to come with me and make a little money on the side and help me set up and run sound? Mm-hmm. And I taught him how to run sound. And I taught him how to set up. And we had probably the funnest summer I think I've ever had playing music.
Yeah, I saw your son.
When it was just us coming back home from wherever we're coming back home at, and just talking about the night and everything. Man, that was a great show and blah, blah, blah. And it was a great time.
Yeah.
And I think it really helped him come out of his shell too,
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. I went and saw you. I was up at Clear Lake and I saw you playing, and I was like, hey, are you Scott's kid? And it's like, yep. And it's like, hey, what's up? Yep. I know you. Yeah. It's like, also, how weird is it for him to have somebody in Clear Lake be like, oh yeah, somebody here knows me.
We had a blast. It was a great summer, and I think we learned a lot from each other.
As we get down to the end of this here, I got to ask you: have your goals changed as you've gone through the music scene at all? Do you have goals since you went full time? I guess
I'm a very goal driven person.
All right, so
I set goals.
So we had talked about you worked full-time job, played music on the side, and now you're doing music full-time.
Full-time music.
Yeah.
I every year, usually in January, I write down on a piece of paper what I want to accomplish. Whether it's I want to record 2 or 3 songs, or one of my goals was I want to learn Operator by Jim Croce on the guitar, right? and I take that little piece of paper and I fold it really nice and tight and I throw it inside my guitar. I've done it for the last 5 years.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And then at the end of the year in January, I take that little piece of paper out that's just sitting there and I look through it and I check mark off what I did and what I didn't do, and that's kind of, I don't know why I started doing that or where I heard that from. I don't remember, but I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And one of them was broken strings. Yep. I wanted to give guitars away to kids. So I thought, check mark. That's cool. Want to start a band. I want to start another band, right? Just get the whole band going. Yeah. Record songs. Check, right? I keep going. So what's next? I don't know. The crowds I want to play bigger venues. Yeah, I am very goal driven, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I was that way, and I always have been, I guess. And since high school, since elementary school.
Well, a goal without a plan is just a dream.
It is.
Yeah.
Very true.
All right. I got a question on here.
He's good at those one-liners.
I know. It was just very almost like a spiritual moment. It was just go without a plan. It's just a dream.
It's a dream, man. Okay. So I have on here, where can people find your music? Well, guess what? I'm going to put everything down in the description section. They can just click on the links. At Scott Kirkhart Music is most of it, right?
Yep. Or you can go to kirkhartmusic.com, because I do have a website.
There we go.
Yet again, I know you guys like websites.
Yeah.
Just a little.
I mean, but and I think everybody should have a website, right? I mean, that should be the one centralized location to go. Social media, but you also got links to every one of my social media on there as well, and you can click on those. And
cool.
We all work together, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we're down at the last question. Do you have a time in your life where marketing impacted you and you possibly didn't know it? This is something that for some reason, like when I'm laying there at night, I'm just like, oh, they got me. And then I can't remember what it was when I come back in here to do the next podcast. I need to start writing these down.
I feel like it's that record thing that when he was just singing that song.
I want a Big Mac DLT quarter pounder. You know, you're probably right, really. I mean, I don't, probably at a young age, you know, you start, I mean, when I grew up, I'm the baby of 6 kids, right?
Okay.
And I grew up listening to a lot of different music. Anywhere from country to classic rock, which is now classic rock, which was then rock and roll. And I remember, and I never thought about this, but one of my first country concerts that I ever went to was the Oak Ridge Boys.
Oh, cool.
I've seen them in concert.
There we go.
Did you know the lead singer passed away?
No.
Yeah, the lead singer passed away like a month ago.
That's sad.
But it was my first country concert. I was on my dad's shoulders the whole entire time, and they're throwing out Frisbees. Back then, Frisbee was a huge thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the Oak Ridge Boys. I still have that Frisbee, and it's in my back room, my music room, and it's hanging on the wall still to this day, because that's my first Frisbee that I ever went to, my first concert. And I remember growing up and listening. We had those big console record players, you know, and that the record, and you open up that record and it's a long, big old Rolls Royce hood, and then those guys are standing in the back of it, all 4 of those Oak Ridge Boys.
That's cool.
And I remember that, and that Elvira song, right?
Yeah.
I started playing that again on my sets, and I, you know, kind of a tribute to Oak Ridge Boys, and you wouldn't imagine the amount of crowd participation. So I would say probably the Oak Ridge Boys were probably one of my first earliest thing of marketing ever. Because Elvira, Bobby Sue.
Yep.
I mean, you know, some of those were some of the best country songs ever made. Frisbees, throwing Frisbees out.
Yeah.
I caught a Frisbee. I don't even know who this, there's people don't even know who the Oak Ridge Boys are.
Yeah.
But they know what that song Elvira is.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's wild. Yeah. I mean, that makes perfect sense. The Frisbee at an arena type place, genius, because you can huck it.
At the state fair.
As long as you're good,
thing out.
As long as you're good at throwing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Well, we played a lot of Frisbee back in the day.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's what we did.
I play a lot of Frisbee now. Frisbee golf.
Well, you play. That's a whole different ball game than just regular Frisbees.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we man, and I probably had 5, 6, 7 Frisbees. I mean, you know, when I was growing up, we always had Frisbee, and that was great.
That's cool.
I think we should bring them back.
All right.
I'm gonna make a. Can I get a Frisbee made with my SK logo on?
I don't know why you couldn't.
Yeah.
Why not?
Next summer, I'm gonna start tossing them out.
All right.
I
Look
don't know.
out for it next
They
summer.
might be doing like pickleball paddles or something next.
That is a huge thing.
Winging pickleball paddles out in the
Or
crowd.
like the balls that you use
The
for
wiffle
pickle.
balls,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's going to be the next thing, you know.
That's a big sport. Look how much that sport. And then you have people replacing full-grown tennis courts.
Yep.
with pickleball
courts now.
I had heard something. I can't remember where it was at. I think it was on a podcast where this guy filled in his swimming pool outside to make a tennis ball or a pickleball court. Filled in a swimming pool.
Oh my gosh.
I can't do that anymore. My knees couldn't take it. My ankles can't take it. My back
It is
definitely
so
can't
much
take
fun. Speaking of somebody that plays pickleball way too much, it is so much
Oh,
fun
it's
to
a
play.
hoot.
It's
It's a
entertaining.
hoot. Like 5 years ago, we played pickleball at the elementary school in Manson.
Oh, yeah?
During the winter, I got my paddle and everything at home still.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So next, we're going to be doing a live podcast with Scott Kerr.
Yeah, playing pickleball.
Playing pickleball.
Nope. I'm going to bring. No. I'm bringing back ping pong.
All right,
man. That's way more Kirkart friendly than pickleball.
I don't know. Did you see the Olympics? I don't know.
How does that? It didn't even look like they were playing ping pong, man. The whole weird thing that they were doing there.
I don't get that. Those guys are so good.
Yeah,
that's wild. Well, that's the end of it, man. I just want to say thanks for sitting down and talking with us a little bit. And
thanks for having me.
Again, if we're looking for anything Scott Kirkart, scroll in the descriptions, click on that website link.
Click like.
Yeah.
I want to be your friend.
Like, subscribe, share.
Please.
Awesome. Scott, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.